crack myself up. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. That's different. I really like that. They're like together, like peas and carrots. That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. This is not what I expected. And here we are, it is Bourbcast time, and tonight we are getting into one that I know is going to be sought after and anticipated and envied, and they're going to be like, where'd you get that? I was reading a review earlier, and the reviewer even said, you can't find this stuff. I haven't had this in a long time. Well, I have a bottle of it, so let's get into it, shall we? Okay, Weller 107. This is part of the Antique series. Yeah. Oh, I completely ruined that. It's all right. So one of the things that some people like about the Wellers is that they have the screw tops. Well, this one still has a cork. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if all of the 107s have a cork. I want to say they probably all do because they're part of that Antique series, but I know some of the Wellers, but with a screw cap, I believe. Anyway, you're not gonna believe this. I left my printout over there. I have to go get it. I'll be right back. We are here. Horton hears a who, right? All right, let's get into this. While it sits and gets a little bit of air and starts to get all ready for me to wrap my lips around it. Num, 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 num. All right, so this is the Weller Antique. It's one of the things it's called. Sometimes it's called Weller Red. Sometimes it's called OWA for Old Weller Antique. Sometimes it's called Weller 107. Sometimes it's called Gimme That. So this is so hard to find nowadays, particularly outside the state of Ohio. There are people who have never even seen a bottle of this, and it kind of rivals, Pappy's and some of those other ones because they can just be very, very hard to find. Like I said, the reviewer that I read earlier, I didn't read his thoughts on the brand as much as just his take on the bottle and finding it and things like that. But this is the Weller Antique, or Weller 107. Prior to COVID, this was under $30, like $23 bottle, MSRP. COVID came around, and because this got more and more scarce, particularly throughout the United States, the price went up. It currently in the state of Ohio is $58.99. Yeah, without tax. Keep going on the tax. There's no age statement attributed to this particular bottle, but the guess is 6 to 7 years. There's also no mash bill anywhere on the product. It's not on the website, it's not anywhere, but the mash bill is assumed to be, or speculated to be, 70% corn, 16% wheat, and 14% malted barley. The Weller line is a wheated line. Maker's Mark is wheated. Green River's got a wheated. Wheated is continuing to get more and more popular. But in the case of this one, this Weller is always wheated. Now, let's talk about it. Weller is a wheated bourbon originally created by the Stitzel Weller Distilling Company. Brand is named after William LaRue Weller. There's a William LaRue Weller bottle, too, which, by the way, is very hard to find, but I understand. I haven't ever tried it. I understand it's amazing. It'd be up in that antique line. A distiller who is credited by some as being the first to use wheat as a secondary grain in straight bourbon as opposed to the more commonly used rye. William LaRue Weller hired the famous Julian Van Winkle, who would later be known as Pappy. Van Winkle began his career working for Weller. When Weller passed away in 1899, this company, the W.L. Weller and Sons, merged with the Stitzel distillery and became Stitzel Weller, owned by Julian Pappy Van Winkle. The companies worked together through Prohibition, operating under a medicinal license, and eventually became the Stitzel Weller Distilling Company in 1935. The Weller is rumored to be the same mash bill as Pappy. An old Rip Van Winkle 10-year is also 107 proof, just like this. Okay? So if we age this bad boy longer, maybe you got a lower end Pappy, because Pappy's a 10-year. This is 6 to 7. Could be, let it sit a little bit longer. Now, you've heard maybe of poor man's Pappy. And what they do with poor man's Pappy is they take this, and you got to figure out the percentages to do this right, but they might mix it with the Special Reserve, which comes in at 90 proof. And some people swear that you have to add in the Weller 12. If you add these three together, you might end up with a poor man's Pappy. Now, you got to buy 3 bottles. So, how poor man is it? Because the 12 year is not all that easy to find either. This is $60 now. So, I don't know how much Pappy goes for MSRP, but I mean, good luck finding it not on secondary. And to finish out the line, there's the Weller Full Proof, which is, you know, all these paths, they're going to have the same mash bill. This is just barrel proof. And of course, this one came out not long ago. The CYPB stands for something. I don't remember. I don't remember. Might even say on here. Yeah. Craft your perfect bourbon. CYPB, craft your perfect bourbon. I understand, and this has not been open, I understand this is the worst in the line. That's what I hear. The only one I don't have is the single barrel. So I'm on the hunt for the single barrel. Once I have that, I'll have the entire rainbow of Weller products, and then we'll do a tasting of all of them together. But I couldn't wait any longer to do the 107 because it's, you know, I've got it. And I've got several bottles of it. So why not have a little bit of fun? Why not get into it? All right. So now you know the lowdown of the Weller 107. Let's run it through its paces a little bit, shall we? This is a fresh crack. Now, I have had Weller 107 before. I've had other bottles of this stuff. I don't drink it a lot. I actually really like that Green Label Special Reserve, the 90 proof one. I really like that one. This one tends to just not come off the neck really as well as the 90 proof one, to me. Now, you let this sit after you've cracked the neck. Gosh, let it sit a month. Changes completely. Let it sit 2 months. Oh my. Oh my. That becomes fantastic. But let's give you the impression of the neck pour now. Bill's watching. Hey, Bill. How are you doing, sir? I'm glad you're with us. Weller 107, my friend. Here it is. By the way, you might have seen, or might not have, the whiskey photo that we did earlier. Click. That's what happened in Ohio overnight. We got schnurr. Yeah, so I had to commemorate our very first schnurr by putting the Weller in it. You notice the area around the bottle is warm. Yeah, it's 107. It's melting that snow. I figure I could take this and roll it down the driveway, and I wouldn't have to shovel anything. Think that'll work? No. All right. Worth a shot. See what you did, a shot? Sorry. All right. All right, so right on the nose, there's a lot going on. First thing I caught right away was ethanol. Fresh crack, it's going to happen. But then it went away, and I got some fruit, and I got some caramel, darker caramel, caramel if you have a degree. There's some brown sugar on it. Brian's watching. Hey, Brian. How are you, sir? We're just getting into the nose right now. Ethanol was the first thing I got. There's a fruit. I'm not catching which one it is, but there's definitely a nice fruit note. Probably black cherry. I'm just trying to like get pieces of it. salted, darker caramel. Some really nice oak. Really nice oak. Almost a sweet mahogany oak. Mahogany and oak are two different trees. I know, I understand. But you get what I'm saying. I'm not catching really any citrus. Maybe a little lemon. Just a little bit. Yeah. It's got a nice nose. I'm not catching any honey, but I did mention the brown sugar. I do have that. So, all right. One more little quaff here. I can't tell. I can't decide if that's black cherry or maybe kind of a cross between that and raisins. A sweet raisin, right? All right. That 107 saying hello. It doesn't really drink as hot as I remember it. It's been a while since I've had it. But it's definitely, I mean, that 107 is, I mean, that's like perfect. You know, if I were to guess it, it's like, well, that feels like 107 in my mouth. It does. An interesting thing here is I've swallowed this and I'm reviewing the finish a little bit, and I'm finding my mouth is watering. You know how sometimes you'll take a sip of a bourbon and it just dries your mouth out? In this case, it's like a waterfall of spit. I'm drooling here. I take that as a good sign. I must find this delicious. Again, for me, I've had this before. For me, I love it better. It's still going to be as hot. But after it's set a month or two, it really is nice. So we'll do the whole test tonight. We'll put it on water. All that stuff. Hey, Chris. How are you? I'm glad you're with us. Glad you're here. I'm going to set the internet on fire with this one. Fire, I say. This one, the YouTube hits will go, whew, because it's Weller 107. Duh. I mean, so many places in the United States don't even ever see this. I got a guy that watches, real nice guy, always says nice things in Albuquerque. I don't know if they can get this here. There's a lot of things that they have there that we can't get here, and he'll tell me. He'll say, well, never seen it. Sipping on some baby Saz. Yeah, boy. That's a good one. Yeah, boy. He's talking about this one, the Sazerac Rye, which I'm hearing that this is going to show up more and more. Regular Buffalo Trace is going to start to show up more and more. Not only is demand starting to go down, MGP is lowering the amount of distillate that they're making that isn't their branded stuff. But, you know, Buffalo Trace did that massive expansion. And it's going to be a couple of years yet before you start to see the results of that massive expansion, the doubling of their stuff. But their 4-year stuff, their 6-year stuff is going to be coming out in another year or two after their expansion. So you're going to see a lot more of this, especially this. I think this is only a 4-year. And you're going to start to see Buffalo Trace. You're going to see a lot more of that on the shelves. So if you're a Buffalo Trace hound and that's what you dig, and I don't blame you. I mean, George T. Stagg is my favorite pour, and it's not a fanboy thing. It's not a Buffalo Trace loyalty thing. It is what it is. It's my favorite pour. I love what Buffalo Trace makes. There's not much that they've made that I haven't liked. At least their distillate anyway. Traveler, not a lover of that one. I'm missing stuff. Jeff is watching. Hey Jeff, Chris is watching. Very nice. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Let's get back into this. I don't want to go too awful long. We've been able to squeeze these into 20, 25 minutes here lately, and I kind of like to stick to that if I can. I know the YouTubers like it when it's short. So, all right. Even just letting that sit for a couple of minutes tamed it. The difference between the fresh crack and letting it sit in your glass. I know some people that will let that sit in their glass for a half hour before they touch it. This is a good one to do that with. I'm starting to get a little burn on the lips, but just in the 2 minutes that I was yapping, that calmed down, that changed. Yeah, that's good. Okay, nice viscous buttery mouthfeel. I'm going to say buttery. I'm not going to say silky. I think there's a difference. It's not overly so. It's not oily. It's got a really nice mouthfeel. Let's see. For me, the notes on the palate, that brown sugar pops for me. That fruit note pops for me. That oak pops. It doesn't scream cinnamon to me, and it doesn't. I'm not getting vanilla off of it. There's a little bit of a hint of leather on the finish, and that's a good note. I mean, you can dictate what type of leather if you want to. Like if it's boot leather, that's one flavor. It's not a bad thing. Carinthia leather is something else. It's the richness of the leather. Again, they're not gonna age this in leather. It's just what it reminds you of, and the finish is kind of giving me a little bit of a leather. It's nice. Definitely getting that brown sugar on there. Okay. Trish is watching. Hey, Trish. How are you? I was downtown tonight. I should have stopped by and, done this in the window. That was attractive, wasn't it? Okay. I wish I could tell you that the cinnamons are popping, and they're really not. You go through and you try to find these different flavors. I just happen to have my flavor wheel here in front of me. I'll pull it up here as well. So, flavor wheel. I'm going to put this in the category that you would normally see as savory. So there's not savory here. So if we look at sweet aromatics, not really getting any of that. I get more of that on the special reserve. If I look at the spice, black pepper, yeah, I'm going to say black pepper. Clove, I can see that. Cinnamon, not so much. Coffee, no, and I did mention tobacco leaf. There's savory, so that was brown. Savory gives you spearmint and anise and herbal, and I'm not getting any of those. So savory was not a great thing. So brown spice is where we're going to go with that. If we're looking at the fruit and floral, cherry is in there. I did say there may be a little bit of that. I tend to get blackberry a lot. Let's see, not getting the floral. So that's the fruit side of it, not the floral side. This is not floral at all. When you get into the top there, we're looking at the oak or the wood. There's wood and there's nut. I'm not catching nut off of this, but I am catching some wood. I got the oak. Not so much smoked oak. I could go with the toasted oak. I could go with that. So, yeah. So sometimes you just got to look at the bourbon wheel. You got to look at the flavor wheel and see where it fits, and you got to remind yourself what different flavors are out there. Because when you taste a different whiskey every week, sometimes you forget something. Sometimes you lose yourself in it. It's like, okay, I don't want it ever to become routine. I want to be able to taste every bourbon for what it's for and what it does uniquely. And this one is a unique wheated bourbon. It's just a little bit different. There's things that I would normally expect out of a different bourbon that this doesn't give, but there's other things that this gives that other bourbons don't. And I'm going to attribute that to the wheated mash bill. Ken's watching. Hey, Ken. How are you, sir? All right, last one of these, and then we'll pour a little more and put a little water on it. The longer this sits, even just tonight, the better the mouthfeel gets and the better the flavor gets. Less harsh, definitely more flavorful. This is good. I don't have to tell you this, it's currency. You know, if you want a really great bottle, like let's say, I don't know, E.H. Taylor or Blanton's or something like that, right? One of those really highly allocated ones that everybody's chasing. By the way, I like this better than E.H. Taylor, at least the small batch. I like this better than that. This is what you use. I mean, I don't advocate trading or selling or anything. I don't like that stuff. I don't do that stuff. And in the state of Ohio, it's illegal. So I don't do it. But there are people who do. And they kind of overvalue this, but not because it can't be overvalued, because it's overvalued by the people who can't get it. Oh, I'll give you X amount of dollars for that, or I'll trade you blah, blah, blah. And I mean, this is a bottle of currency in the state of Ohio. This is a place that we know we can get it. It may be in shorter supply than it used to be, and it may be, more than double the cost that it was before COVID, but we can get it here. And people grab it, they'll stand in line for it, and then it ends up being traded or sold. Obviously, I'm drinking it. I'm not selling it. So, all right, so let's do the water. I don't think I've ever sold, I've traded a bottle. I don't think I've ever sold, I know I've never sold a bottle. But I have traded a couple. Not these. I add a little bit more water to that than I wanted to. But that's okay. There's some room to come down. If I want to get down to that special reserve level, which is 90 proof, I got some room. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. It'll settle. Stop yelling. There's a friend I used to work with. She was like that. I'd say, "How was your weekend?" "Why do you have to yell? Why do you have to be so mean?" It's funny. She's just funny. She's funny. All right. So this is well mixed. Let's see what it does. I didn't add too much water. Mouthfeel is about the same. It didn't really get much more viscous. Didn't add much to the mouthfeel, which is kind of surprising. A lot of times when you add water to it, it does add something to that. This time it did not. I'm not going to tell you that it really... Ooh, there's a flavor. What was that? That was really sweet right on the back end. What was that? Wow. That was strong, whatever that was. Good gracious. I don't know that I'll get it back. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that again. It was very sweet. And I'm getting milk chocolate on the finish after adding water to it. I didn't get that before. I am now. I don't think that's what it was before. I think it was something else. Let me see if I can find it again. Little licorice on that. Now it hasn't come back yet. I don't know what that was. Just a little bit of licorice on the palate with water on it that I didn't catch before. Gosh, I don't know what that was, but whatever it was delicious. It was very sweet. There was a sweet note there. It was there and it was gone, and I didn't get the chance to identify it. It was just like that. But it might have been that milk chocolate. I don't know. I'm not getting a lot of that now. There for a second that I did, I'm not anymore. Maybe it's because I'm looking for it. I don't know. All right. One more of these, and we'll put it on ice. That brown sugar is really strong on the palate with water on it. That sweetness that I got might just be a little bit like a honey saturated granola. I don't know. Whatever it was, it went away. It went away. And I'm very sad. Kind of very warm. This sweatshirt, I mean, I've got the house down to like 68, and I'm warm. And I brought it down to 68 knowing I was going to wear a sweatshirt because it's cold outside. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the house, maybe they cranked it. I don't know. But I'm about to sweat. And I don't mean sweat. I mean sweat. I'm going to sweat. All right. Goodness gracious. All right. So this is, of course, a gorgeous ice sphere. It's been a little while since we brought one of these out. I love these things. I talk often about the Roxy. I think it's the Roxy that I went to in North Carolina. Kind of a speakeasy that's downstairs. And a little more. That's a big ice sphere. And I saw they had these glasses that were big, and the ice spheres that they had were probably at least this big and maybe a little bit bigger. I mean, they were big. They were big. I'm going to say this and maybe another 50%. They were big ice spheres. Now, that made the drink look huge when it wasn't very huge. Just like an old-fashioned. You just start drinking an old-fashioned, it's like, where's the rest of it? It's like a dog eating food. Where's the food? You ate the food. Where's the food? I feel that way when I drink a cocktail. When it's a small cocktail, where's the rest of it? Well, the ice sphere in this particular place, and I want to call it the Roxy. It just was huge, but it's where I fell in love with the whole idea. Just really, really ice. You got to do the finger stir, right? So I've had several people ask me why the finger stir. First of all, because it's easy, it's funny, and because I suck with a spoon. I've seen bartenders that can do the spoon, right? They do it really, really well. And there's a twist in the spoon, in a bar spoon, that's supposed to help you do it. I can't do it. And these are just a little bit too big in the glass to be able to do much more, and I want to cool the whiskey down. Can't fit a spoon in there. Use the finger rolla. All right. Sherry's watching. Hey, Sherry. I'm glad you're here. She's got a bar called the Copper Top. It's beautiful. And there's copper on the ceiling, hence the Copper Top. And I've got a chance to bartend at her bar a couple different times for some events, and it's a very, very nice bar. And I hope, Sherry, that you are pouring something and enjoying it along with me, because that's what this is all about, is pouring something and enjoying it alongside. Even if it's not this, because this is hard to find. And I know Jerry's big into like your Jack Daniels. If you're allowed to touch it, pour yourself a Jack and enjoy with me. Okay, so this is the Weller 107, the Antique on ice. My first instinct is don't. However, I have to be honest about it, because that's what we do here. We're honest. The flavor holds up. It got a little, what is that? There it is again. I got that ticker tape going in my head. What could that possibly be? Flavor wheel time. What the hell is that? The closest thing I see on there, and it goes in that sweet aromatics, is potentially butterscotch. That seems to fit. That last time with a little bit of water, something hit me and I didn't know what it was. And butterscotch is possible. It's not honey. I wish it was. I love that honey note. It's not it. Hey, Michael Bauer from Coachella Valley. How you doing, Mike? We got snow. I'll show you the picture one more time. We got snow. Here we go. This is what we woke up to. Well, you didn't wake up to the Weller 107, but that's the snow on my back deck. That's what I woke up to this morning. I was looking outside and going, what the heck happened? Most of it's gone. I mean, it's Ohio, and it's the first snow, but it was measurable. So we got our first snow today on whatever day this is. I don't even know what day this is. I got no idea. Yeah, wear the sunglasses, Michael. I get it. 80 and beautiful today. Yeah, I got it. Okay. I get you. You can have 80 degrees and sunny weather all day long. I'll take being able to go 45 miles in 45 minutes. Okay? Can you do that where you are? No. It took me 45 minutes to go 8 miles the last time I was in Santa Monica area. Silliness. 45 minutes, 8 miles. So you can have your 80 degrees and your sunshine and your waves and your Gladstones in Malibu. I would go on a flight today to go to Gladstones in Malibu and fly the heck back. I'm just saying. Okay. So go there, eat for me, and let me live vicariously through you, okay? Yeah, butterscotch. And there's that milk chocolate just a little bit too. Really good. Really good. 60 and beautiful, 80 and beautiful today. In the desert, dude. Not like that here. I know. I get it. A little less traffic in the desert areas. We went out there, 2004, and filmed in Lake Mirage. No traffic whatsoever. Old lake, dried out. Yeah. Okay, so this is a fantastic pour. As it set, it got better and better and better. It's flavorful on ice. I don't recommend it. I rarely recommend ice because it does mute the flavors, but it brought out some flavors that weren't there otherwise. On water, same thing. Neat. Let it sit. Open it, crack it, right? Pour yourself one, cork it, put it away for 2 months. You're going to get a lot of those flavors without having to cool it down or water it down on its own. Now, what are we doing next week? Well, next week, I think, is like the last, let me look at the calendar here real quick. I've got that available. I got a big screen here in front of me. Find out, so next week is Thanksgiving Day, right? Yeah. Yeah, so, gosh, I had one picked. I don't know if I want to do this on Thanksgiving Day or not. I will tell you what I picked. We may change it. I have not had this one yet. And I like this brand, so I don't know. I'll let you know. But the one I picked out, I'm going to need these, is the Old Elk Small Batch. I just like Old Elk. The only thing that I've ever had from them that I didn't love was the sherry cask. This is Sour Mash Reserve, batch 4. Alcohol by volume is 52.5, so it's 105 proof. It's just the Old Elk small batch. I have not had this yet. I've had most of the Old Elks. I've liked them all. Again, the sherry cask is the one I like the least. But this is what I'm thinking we're going to do next week. It may change because it's Thanksgiving, and I like to do different things on Thanksgiving. And then, of course, in December, we're going to switch gears a little bit. And there's a little bit of audience participation. So just so you know it ahead of time, and I want you to be involved in this. Don't sit back and wait for Thursday only to get involved in this show. In December, we're going to be doing Santa's samples, right? So samples December. I tried to make that clever, and I couldn't do it. Wild turkey on Thanksgiving. I've done that, Bill. If I'm going to do it, like last Thanksgiving, for instance, I was trying to say instance and example at the same time. It's funny. It doesn't work out that way. I did the Wild Turkey 101 bourbon and the Wild Turkey 101 rye. I remember because I put it in the turkey roaster with a baster. So that's what I did last year. So I don't want to repeat that. And I'm not able to get a hold of really some of those special wild turkeys like the 70th anniversary and the ones that are really, really pricey. I just don't have access to those right now. So I'm not going to do wild turkey as much as that makes sense. Could I play last year's all over again? Sure. But that would be cheating. And you would not like me. I could not give that a new number. I think this is 238, maybe 239. I think it's 238. So I'll have to come up with something else. If I don't do the Old Elk, I'll do something that is apropos for Thanksgiving. 2 years ago, I did the, Lester's watching. Hey, Lester. We're just about done. 2 years ago, I did the smoked maple from Knob Creek. I think it was 2 years ago. Might have been 3, but I think it was 2. It had to have been 2. And my mom was sitting behind the camera enjoying all of it. And I had the fire going behind me and all that stuff. So that's got warm memories for me. See what I did to their fire? Warm memories. I'm so punny tonight. No, I'm really not. But so I'll come up with something. If it's not the Old Elk small batch, it'll be something that's appropriate for Thanksgiving. So if you are not able to join us next Thursday, that's great. It's Thanksgiving. Do your thing. If you are able to join us, great. I'd love to have you. We'll be here at 7 o'clock doing the thing like we always do right here on Beautiful Bourbon. If you're on YouTube, check us out. YouTube.com @Beautiful Bourbon. That's where we are there. Same thing you see here. But, you know, the more people that watch, the more people that subscribe, the better the algorithms. And, you know, I've got 330 now somehow. I don't know how that's happened, but it's continuing to grow slowly, but it's booming. And I'm really grateful. It's great. I love it. I love it. It's fun. So thank you for watching. I'm glad you're here, and we will see you on Thanksgiving with our next Bourbcast. You know, start thawing your turkey now. If you got a big one, start thawing it now. And if you don't like the cranberry sauce, I'll take it. Because I like it. I'll see you next week. And it's anybody's game what we're going to do.